When I moved to the United States, it was my first time away from home overseas, so it was all very, very interesting, and all of my knowledge of the United States came from television and movies.
Living in your own country, the only way that you find information about other culture is through information on the internet or through media, and oftentimes they're very biased.
So you can see it on TV, you can see it on movies, you can pull up the YouTube, a YouTube video, and it's there. It's almost like you've done it yourself.
And unless you really have the human experience, the human contact with people from another culture, you won't be able to understand entirely why they're doing what they're doing.
There's one story that I'm receiving, and then there's another story when I'm actually there. I think having both of those stories is really important.
The biggest and the most important aspects of an international education is the fact that you're gaining something that you wouldn't have gained in the place that you are. I've pushed myself to limits that I thought that I wouldn't be able to push myself to.
And it really gave me the opportunity to kind of grow as a person, live independently, and just enjoy the whole study abroad experience from my own perspective.
You get very used to where you live, and it can become very insular, and so to get out of that bubble and cross through the ocean and go somewhere else was a really good experience.
It has made me believe that there isn't a limit and there isn't anything that I can't try.
It broadens your horizons in every single way. Like, you learn how other people live, how other people think, it's just, I think it's after you study abroad, like, it just changes your perspective in everything.
It's really brought out things about where I'm from that I wouldn't have noticed unless I had gone away.
But really, it's about what do we learn about ourselves when we find ourselves in a place that is unfamiliar? What can we learn and grow from a place of discomfort?
I think at the beginning, I would always want to become part of the American culture and socialize and speak and dress and live just like American students, so I feel belonged. What I should pursue is to find a new identity. I'm not just trying to fit in this one or the other one. I would find a place in the middle, and I'm unique in that sense.
I'd say that really for our students, the challenges that have been most present have really been around understanding cultural norms.
It's actually those tiny things like how you understand a problem, how you hold on to different values can really make a difference in those conflicts and difficulties we have right now happening in the world.
Our students, what I think is very interesting is to see how innovative and new ways of collaboration inform the work that they might be doing in the global marketplace.
I find it very heartening to think that we send some of these cultural ambassadors, if you will, back to their home countries so that people understand that, they get to see the United States through their eyes.
Knowing Spanish and having this program that helped with immersion in Spanish just makes it so that thousands of people in the world I am now able to communicate with.
Everyone's just doing something or the other, and then everyone has different stories to tell. At the end of the day, when you think about what you've done and who you've met, you can actually just picture a map of the world and put pins on places that people from, and you just it's a very satisfying feeling.
I think that the importance of international education is to recognize that every person has an inherent value in this world.
Everybody should have access to this because it's such an opportunity for growth. It's such a great way for people to recognize that we don't really live in our own bubble.
If my goal is to do something meaningful in life, do something that helps someone else, I cannot just only have been educated in one sort of system, in one sort of way. I think it's very beneficial to get an outside perspective, and there's many ways of doing that.
I think the whole experience of being in an unfamiliar society really taught me that there's a lot more to the world beyond what I already know.
In differences, we find opportunities. The global experience, getting outside of our borders in particular, offers those opportunities for better understanding and ultimately for living in a better planet.